Good morning, and welcome back to the channel where I slowly review every pirate movie before the release of the new 6th film. Oh yeah, I almost forgot there's going to be a reboot to this series. Yep, and do you know if there have been any updates since it was first reported? There had been a lot actually. With Depp's reputation restored, people are hoping that he will get his role as Jack Sparrow back, and a former Disney executive has come out saying that it is a possibility, and there is another rumor going around that Disney made Depp an offer in hopes that he will be willing to come back. But I doubt that will ever happen since the new writers are focused on making the film more female-centric and star a female protagonist instead of Depp. But I thought Elizabeth was the star protagonist in the first film. I thought so too, but the Jack Sparrow character was more loved by audiences, so Elizabeth's title of protagonist was changed so that the films were more focused on Jack rather than her. Well, that sucks. For her, that is. Yep, but whatever. Depending on how the first trailer looks and Depp's decision, I might just wait for the film to be available for streaming. Sounds like a good idea to me. Anyway, I'm about to start a review, so can you leave now? Sorry about that. Which film is it again? On Stranger Tides. Oh, the boring one. Yeah. Cue the intro! As always, before we talk about the film, let's talk about its history. On Stranger Tides came out as a standalone sequel in the franchise and is based on a book by the same name written by Tim Powers. The film was released in 2011, 4 years after At World's End, and very few of the main cast and even fewer of the side characters reprised their roles for this film. Some of the new cast members they got for the film includes the guy who voiced Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda, the guy who played Finnick from The Hunger Games Catching Fire, and the woman who played the former scared maid from Murder on the Orient Express. Hey, we made a commentary video on that one. It was fun. You should all watch it if you haven't yet. Sorry, going back on topic. Originally, the series was going to end with At World's End, but after a successful opening weekend for the third film, work for the fourth film started almost immediately in hopes of continuing the money-making success. But then work stopped when the writers at Disney, and I think other studios as well, went on strike due to poor working conditions and being underpaid. A recurring issue in the entertainment industry that nobody at the heads of these multi-billion-dollar companies ever learned from.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the
professional writers.
No, we're wrong.
Anyway, after the strike was settled, work continued on the film, and a new director, Rob Marshall, was hired after Verbinski stated he couldn't do Stranger Tides due to his other project he was directing, Ringo, which turned out to be the right choice for Verbinski since his movie got an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, while On Stranger Tides didn't win anything noteworthy.
Feature film director Gore Verbinski said it wasn't difficult to switch from live action to computer animation since it's used so much in big action-adventure movies. This is his first Academy Award and nomination.
As for Marshall, he only took the job because the film sounded different and unique. A highly debatable sentence, I know, but who am I to judge an experienced director that also did Into the Woods, Mary Poppins Returns, and very soon The Little Mermaid, if that ever comes out. Anyway, back to the pirates. On Stranger Tides was made with a budget of over $410 million and earned over $1.04 billion in the box office. A financial success for Disney at the time, and I guess technically still is. But as audiences started coming down from their excitement of another pirate movie, people started noticing that the film is lacking something that the other films had. And what is it that film is lacking exactly? Well, meet me in the story summary and I will tell you. First off, unlike the last two films, the plot here is very simple. Thank you, writers! So here it is. The story goes that the king of the Spaniards was told by an old man fished from the sea that the Fountain of Youth exists and his journal has the map to get there. The king then sends his right-hand man to follow the map and find the fountain.
How soon can you sail? With the tide.
Over in London, Jack has disguised himself as a judge and infiltrated the trial for his best friend, Jeremy Gibbs. By the way, Gibbs, who is played by Kevin McNally, has appeared in the past 3 films, but his character didn't do very much, so I never really mentioned him until now. Sorry, McNally, you didn't really deserve that disrespect.
That's not fair!
Shut in.
Jack manages to save Gibbs from the gallows, and while the two were escaping, Gibbs tells Jack about a rumor he heard that Jack Sparrow is looking for crewmen for his new ship.
There is another Jack Sparrow out there sullying my good name.
An imposter.
Indeed.
But before Jack can do anything about the rumor, the two runaways were captured at the town gates, and Jack was dragged off to England's most powerful man in the country.
You were in the presence of George Augustus, Duke of Brunswick-Lundberg, Arch-Treasurer and Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire, King of Great Britain and Ireland, and of you.
Doesn't ring a bell.
King George, who is played by Richard Griffiths, complains about the Spaniards already having a head start to the Fountain of Youth, and he demands that Jack hands over his map and lead the expedition to the fountain. Jack then asks if the king will provide a ship and crew to use for the journey, and the king replies thusly.
Afternoon, sire.
Captain Barbossa, who is still played by Jeffrey Rush, has taken up employment as a privateer to the crown and tells Jack that he has lost the Black Pearl along with his leg, and Jack responds justly.
If that ship be sunk properly, you should be sunk with it.
After that pleasant conversation, Jack escapes the castle and to a bar where his father is at, and he tells Jack some more details about the fountain.
Son, the fountain. There'll be items required for the profane ritual. 2 chalices.
On the map, there was a chalice.
2 silver from the Ponce de Leon ship. You'll need both.
Once their conversation ends, Jack tracks down his imposter. The two fight for a bit, then Jack figures out who his imposter is.
Hello, Angelica.
Hello, Jack. Are you impressed?
The two talk about their past for a bit, then they are interrupted by the king's men, and after they escape, they talk about what the other knows about the fountain before they are interrupted again, this time by a zombie man. We then quickly cut to Barbossa, who threatens Gibbs to hand over the map he stole from Jack, but instead of handing it over, Gibbs destroys the map and threatens Barbossa that if he kills him, all knowledge of the path to the fountain will be lost.
Welcome back to His Majesty's Navy, Master Gibbs.
Back to Jack. After waking up on a sailing ship, he runs to Scrum, played by Stephen Graham, who tells Jack that he is on a ship called the Queen Anne's Revenge, and Jack assumes who the captain is.
Blackbeard.
Jack then spends time gathering information about the crew before approaching Angelica and demands answers from her. She tells Jack that she is Blackbeard's long-lost daughter, and she now wants nothing more than to stay by her father's side.
He bought that?
I sold that.
Angelica also tells Jack that Blackbeard was told a prophecy about his death, where his end will come by the hands of a one-legged man. I wonder who that might be.
I lost the pearl as I lost my leg.
Anyway, that night, Jack gathers up the crewmen and convinces them that they aren't on the real Queen Anne's Revenge because no one has seen the ruthless captain, and the crew should revolt against Angelica and the zombie men. The crew agrees to perform a mutiny, and right when they're about to win, Jack declares the ship is theirs, and Blackbeard leaves his quarters. After Blackbeard regains control over the crew by tying them up and killing the cook, Blackbeard talks to Jack in private about his actions. But Jack instead tries to take advantage of the situation and tries to manipulate the old captain.
The woman is consummate in the art of deception. I know, as I mostly unwittingly set her on a wicked path, though I cannot claim credit for her existing abundance of natural talent.
But that ended up backfiring due to Blackbeard just not believing a word of what Jack is saying, and instead just branded him and threatened him to be his guide to the fountain.
I'll have a wee look-see at those charts straight away then, shall I?
Come to think of it, do we ever see that brand come up again in the film? Good question. I don't think we ever do. I guess the writers either messed up or are setting something up for a future film. Why do I get the feeling that's never going to be resolved? Because screw us. Right. Anyway, we then cut to Barbossa. Then back to Jack, who prepares a dinner for Angelica for the intention of getting more information about the fountain.
With these items, you may take all the years of life from another, Jack.
Eh?
You know what that means? We cannot go alone, you and I. The ritual requires a victim.
And with that revelation, Jack's ambition for the Fountain of Youth died. But after Angelica shows him Blackbeard's collection of bottled ships, Jack starts slowly changing his mind.
The black pearl in the bottle? Why is the black pearl in the bottle?
In all honesty, it should have been in a jar. Editor, really? Sorry, I couldn't help it. Angelica then asks Jack if he will help her. But Jack is still on the fence and instead tries to convince her out of helping Blackbeard. But
I am truly the daughter of Blackbeard.
You've fallen for your own con, love.
No, he is my father. The lies I told you were not lies.
You lied to me by telling me the truth?
Yes,
That's very good. May I use that?
I'm sure you will anyway.
the conversation is interrupted and we cut to everyone on the shores of Whitecap Bay, where Blackbeard gets his crew set up for mermaid hunting. And it goes well. Very well. At the end of the hunt, the missionary boy in the crew, Philip, played by Sam Coughlin, managed to accidentally catch a mermaid, played by Astrid Burgess Frisbee. And Blackbeard's crew lock her up in a glass coffin and make their way into the forest. Shortly behind them, Barbossa and his crew land on shore and assess the mess on the beach. And their sinking ship in the distance.
Sir, the man.
They be dead already.
They don't sound dead.
Oh, is that so? Well, I hear nothing but seagulls nesting.
Back with Jack, the crew makes it to a very steep cliff with no bridge. And after a short discussion involving a friendly game of Russian roulette, the group splits up. Jack leaves to go get the chalices from an old ship nearby, while everyone else heads to a mermaid graveyard to harvest a tear from the mermaid they caught.
Bring the creature, cover its head.
She has a name!
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Philip and Serena started developing feelings for one another, and they become our replacement couple for Will and Elizabeth in this film. And does anything come of this? Kinda, but I'll get to that later. Then, after an encounter with Barbossa and the Spaniards' army, Jack manages to get the chalices and forms a secret alliance with Barbossa.
Oh, sorry about the chalices, Jack, but I have an appointment to keep. I'll not be going back.
No need. Shall we have a drink?
We'll drink at the fountain.
Blackbeard and his crew also manage to get Serena to give up a tear, and the group meets back up with Jack, who is accompanied by Gibbs and the pig.
Quick, or the pig runs, and good luck getting those chalices.
Jack, if it's all the same to you, I'd be just as...
Done! Release the swine.
After that, Gibbs disappears for a bit, and Jack leads everyone to the fountain. And I do mean everyone.
The one-legged man.
You brought him here.
Would I do that?
And after a quick fight, the Spaniards then join in, takes the chalices from Angelica, then says this.
Only God can grant eternal life, not this pagan water.
Then the Spaniards proceeded to destroy the fountain, and while Blackbeard was distracted, Barbossa took his shot.
What devil is this? For the pearl.
What have you done? And as he lay there dying, Angelica attempts to save Blackbeard by pulling Barbossa's sword out of him, only to get cut herself.
I'm not such the fool to take on Blackbeard without a little venomous advantage.
So while Jack digs around in the water for the chalices, Barbossa takes Blackbeard's sword and tells everyone that he is now captain of the Queen Anne's Revenge, and anybody who wants to join him to do so now. And everyone does, except for the boring zombie men. After that, the Spaniards finish destroying the fountain and leave. But before the fountain is done draining all of its water, Serena brings the chalices back to Jack, tells him not to waste her tear, and leaves. Then Jack quickly gathers the last of the fountain's waters and gives it to the dying captain and his daughter.
I cannot save you both. One of you must sacrifice.
You take it, Father, for your soul.
Carly.H, she's dying. You must save your daughter.
Blackbeard then takes the chalice with a tear and begs his daughter to take the other, sacrificing herself for him. And she does. But...
Wait a minute. In fact, it might have been the other way around. This cup had the tear, That one had the other bit.
And finally, we come to the end of the film. The new couple swims off into the darkness. Angelica is abandoned on a remote island to live out the rest of her newly gained years. Barbossa sets off on his newly acquired ship. And Jack meets back up with Gibbs and talk about having another adventure together to find a way to safely remove the Black Pearl from her glass prison.
I have no say in it, Gibbs. It's a pirate's life for me. Savvy?
And that's the rough story summary of the film. Are you all bored yet? No? Good. Let's move on to the individual problems of the film.
Gentlemen.
Remember my complaints about Lord Cutler Beckett in my last review? Well, thank the Kraken, I don't have those complaints here because Blackbeard is awesome! He is ruthless, powerful, scary, and smart?
Remember, Father, we need him.
If I don't kill a man every now and then, they forget who I am.
Okay, he's not really that smart, which leaves Barbossa still being my favorite pirate villain. But hey, he is still a scary antagonist who Jack needs to go against to get what he wants. His ship back and Angelica being safe, which he did get in the end. But I do wish that Blackbeard had a closer relationship to Jack like the past antagonists did. Barbossa stealing Jack's ship and crew, Davy Jones being Jack's debt collector, and Cutler Beckett being Jack's former employer who branded Jack as a pirate, if you count the deleted scene. Which leads me to basically the main problem of the film.
I found my desire for the fountain greatly lessened.
Jack's motive for this film is very basic compared to past films. Movie 1 was revenge. Movie 2, it was avoiding giving Jones 100 souls for a debt. And movie 3 was fighting to keep his and every pirate's freedom. In this film, though, his motive is just finding the Fountain of Youth, just because he can, and after he learned that the only way to gain youth is by killing someone else, his reason to find the fountain vanishes because the fountain's ritual goes against Jack's morals. So halfway through the film, his motives change from finding the fountain to saving Angelica and the Black Pearl. How is that any different from past motives, you might ask? Well, again, revenge for having his ship and crew stolen, and left abandoned on a remote island left to die, avoiding a debt because the price is far too high for him to pay off, and the freedom of not just himself, but for all pirate kind! And also make sure his OTP ends up together. So, his motive in this film is just a bit underwhelming compared to past films. If this was the only film, or the first film released in the series, it really wouldn't be a problem. But seeing as it is the fourth movie taking place after a film that had a scene involving a fight on a ship of undead human sea monster hybrids in a whirlpool, people like myself are going to be a bit underwhelmed. Speaking of undead creatures, let's talk about the ones in this film.
He's been zombified.
Eh?
Zombified. Blackbeard's doing. All the officers are the same. Makes them more compliant.
And perpetually ill-tempered.
It wouldn't be a Pirates of the Caribbean film if there wasn't a ship of undead creatures in it, and this film has the worst ones yet! These zombie sailors are probably the least interesting undead creatures in the whole franchise. Visually, they look like normal men with scars and anger management issues, which makes them seem almost normal compared to Davy Jones' Under the Sea crew and Barbossa's Cursed crew. Yes, I have complained about Jones's crew being walking CGI things, but at least the design of the CGI things was still visually cool, with the added information that their bodies are literally fusing with the ship and taking away their humanity in the process, which also makes them story-wise very interesting and make the audience feel a little bad for them.
100 years before the mast. Losing you up, bit by bit, till you end up like poor Within. Once you've sworn an oath to the Dutchman, there's no leaving it. Not until your debt is paid.
As for Barbossa's cursed crew, yes, they still look like normal human men, but because of the curse, they turned into walking skeletons in the moonlight, which makes them visually scary, and unless you completely destroy them or you know how to use magic, they can't die!
Hey, watch out! They can see you! Stay away from their magic!
What for?
Weren't you listening to me before?
Hey, Pete, thanks for the tip.
Then we have the film after this one, Dead Men Tell No Tales, where we get Salazar's undead crew who all look visually very scary and awesome. So why did we get boring zombie men for Stranger Tides? Why can't there be interesting zombie men that look cool like the other undead creatures in the franchise and not another generic walker from BBC? Did the creative team behind the designs of past films also go on strike and didn't come back until movie 5? Or was the CGI budget and scheduling so tight that coming up with a cool design wasn't possible? I don't know, but hopefully whatever design they have for their undead creatures in movie 6 will be better than these things. I really wouldn't get your hopes up if I were you. I know, but please let me dream. Anyway, let's talk about something else now.
Aye, that be the cold breath of fate I feel down my nape. But I'll have one last fight. By God. Kill 'em all! Hang on a minute!
Okay. Curse of the Black Pearl. The climactic fight between Jack and Barbossa was visually amazing because of the curse, and we can see the ambition in the characters as the two fight for their lives up until the very last shot. Dead Man's Chest. The climactic fight was the Black Pearl crew against the Kraken, where a lot of the main characters are so close to dying, and ended with the death of the main character, Jack Sparrow.
Hello, Beastie.
Then we have At World's End! So, with all these cool fights, and the stakes rising with every film, what do we get on Stranger Tides?
Right, so you will fight against them, they will fight against you, all on account of him wanting to kill him?
A joke. Just a joke about why everyone is fighting for two men who can fight it out on their own without the help of their people. Do you not see why I'm disappointed with this? Again, with past films, the stakes have gotten higher and higher, starting with the revenge for one man to the little freedom for all pirates. So the next best thing the writers could think of is Jack questioning why everyone has to fight over the life of one cruel man? Seriously? Did we really waste almost 2 hours of our lives just to see this disappointment? No wonder the franchise almost came to an end. The writers have no idea what they're doing anymore and are just relying on Captain Jack Sparrow's character to bring in the money. Which is hilarious to say because Disney dropped Depp as soon as the actor sued the Sun for slander, and Disney didn't want to get involved with that and dropped him so they don't have a controversial actor in a leading role. And now, after we see that Depp is not an abuser, we have to watch Disney beg Depp to come back because no one is going to see a film without their favorite character. Even if they did get someone else to play him. Seriously, The Rock? I'm definitely not watching the film if The Rock is playing Jack. As some other original character, yes, but not freaking Jack! You are surprisingly over-emotional about this. Yeah, well, I really like the pirate films, and I want them to continue being super cool and fun to watch. But if companies don't know how to continue a series, then they should just end it instead of wasting money and time on something that is so boring. True, we probably would have far more original films made if companies stopped rebooting or remaking existing works. But if the general public kept demanding for more of the old stuff, the companies will listen and meet those demands. Hence why we did get a 5th and soon 6th pirate film after this disappointment. $1 million box office return, remember? Yeah, and I guess I do fall into the same opinion as the general public. Despite the disappointing zombie designs and boring climactic fight scene, we did get new characters who might do more good to the franchise than bad. I mean, we don't know what happened to Philip and Serena after they escaped from the fight, and after hearing this line, I'm sure they're alive somewhere out there.
I heard it said a kiss from a mermaid protects a sailor from drowning.
Then we have Angelica, who has gained 40 plus years to her life, and the ending credit scene hinted at the possibility of her coming back for revenge. But will Disney remember her or do anything more to her character? Probably not, but if they did, it would be cool to have her back. So, yeah, I have basically little to no hope for the 6th film, or any reboots in the future. I mean, if Disney wants a whole new pirate series with new characters and stories, it should be fine. But will we ever get that? Maybe. Possibly. No, not really. Anyway, My final thoughts is basically see it once and never again if you're rewatching the whole series. Or just stick with the first 3 films and not touch anything after that. Blackbeard was fun, but the final fight is not hype enough, and I too would abandon it on an island just like Jack did to Angelica.
Missed!
And that's all I have to say about On Stranger Tides. I know I kept saying that anything after At World's End is not worth the time, which includes the 5th film, but it has been about a year since I've seen it, so maybe watching it again now would change my mind.
I'll have to be frank, Victor. You are very, very ugly. So how could you produce a fetching creature such as that?
I'm sorry. What? So, Kishti has given up for the day and refuses to finish off the video properly, so here I am to clean up after her. You are welcome. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and if you want to see more reviews, please remember to subscribe and turn on the bell icon to be notified when videos like this are available. If you have more time to spend, check out our commentary series where my siblings and I watch and commentate on films ranging from Disney's greatest animated features to just outright garbage.
He was bending tiny stones at us from behind a tree. It really hurt.
I'm sorry! That actually worked though! He started throwing stones at us from behind a tree! It really hurt!
I mean, that actually...
Who is this soldier? Give him an Aussie! Also, our channel is not currently monetized, so if you want to donate, we have a Patreon with rewards for each amount donated. Or you can just share this video on social media and let your friends and family know that we exist. Thank you all for your time, and see you all in the next pirate review, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Good night!